Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out a lot. And welcome to the channel. If you like pop culture and retro gaming and modern gaming, you have come to the right place. So I'm excited about today's video because I want to talk about 5 things that I absolutely love about the Sega Genesis, which is, I think it's one of the 5 or 6 greatest video game consoles of all time. More than 700 releases in the US, great games. Awesome console for sports and shooters and fast-paced games like Sonic the Hedgehog. It had a great campaign, marketing campaign back in the day. You know, Sega does what Nintendo don't, the console wars. The Genesis is a great console in terms of games, history, and so much else. And I want to talk about 5 things in particular that I just love about the console. Number 5 is kind of a odd thing, just something a little quirky that you might not think of, is the fact that Frogger, the coin-op classic that I grew up playing, was the last release, the last official original release for the console. It came out in 1998, and it is a drop-dead perfect port of Frogger, which is important to me because I grew up playing this game in the arcades back at the Malibu Grand Prix and Land of Oz with my brother, and I was pretty good at it, but my brother Scott is the best Frogger player I have ever seen. Back in the day, he would just move that joystick so fast to get Frogger to cross the highway and the river, and it was just amazing to watch him play. He was great. Best player I've ever seen, including you know, some of the modern players you see in the various video game documentaries. He could just dominate that game. I wish I knew what his all-time high score was. But anyway, Frogger, I just like that it was the last release for, you know, a fairly modern system at the time, with the early 80s game as the last release and being such a drop-dead perfect port. And the Super Nintendo version, released around the same time, is dreadful. It had a different developer, and it had no music. The graphics were different, and it just felt off, lousy. Number 5, Frogger. Number 4, the Genesis has a headphone jack, at least the first model of it. The one you see here in the 3rd iteration, no headphone jack. But the first iteration of the Genesis, that original model that so many of us had a headphone jack, and I love this. This is an underrated feature for a console. I think more consoles should have this. When I'm hanging out in my game room and there's some other family members in here, maybe watching TV or doing something, and I don't want to disturb them, I can put in my earbuds or headphones in my Sega Genesis and play without disturbing them, and I think that's awesome. And you know, I could turn the sound down, but that's not as much fun, obviously, as playing when you can hear the music and sound effects. So number 4, the fact that the Genesis has a headphone jack. More consoles should have that. Number 3, the plastic boxes for the Genesis are awesome. Highly collectible, they look great on your shelf, they're very sturdy and durable, nice color. And I have a lot more boxed Sega Genesis games for my Genesis than I do boxed Super Nintendo games, because the boxes for the Super Nintendo games are made out of cardboard, and more people threw those away, so there are just fewer of them. So I love that there are so many Sega Genesis box games still available, you know, in the wild. And now the design did carry forward from the Master System, but so many Master System games have, you know, just this boring white design. And the Genesis games just look fantastic, and they're collectible and durable. Love it. So number 3, plastic boxes. Number 2, in the 5 things I love about the Genesis, or 5 of the things, there are many, is the controller, the original fat controller. It's got a great round design. It just feels really comfortable in your hands, and it just works great. Now later, the Genesis, they did come out with a smaller controller that had 6 buttons. Now, ironically, it's a smaller controller with more buttons. Go figure. I like this for like fighting games and some other titles where you really need 6 buttons, but it's just smaller and doesn't fit quite as well in my hands, and it just doesn't feel quite as great as the original Sega Genesis controller. Now, as a bonus, this will plug into your Atari 2600, and it is perfect for games like Phoenix, Demon Attack, and Space Invaders. It makes your hands less tired, and it actually has better control. You know, I tend to be sort of a purist when it comes to consoles, but I'm not opposed to using a better controller for a console, you know, that's not its native controller. Try it sometime if you never have. Play some select Atari 2600 games, like the shooters I mentioned, with the Genesis controller. It works great. Number 1, the fact that the Sega Genesis had two really unique versions of great games that you generally consider Nintendo games, or games for Nintendo consoles, Castlevania and Contra. Now, Castlevania Bloodlines was a Genesis exclusive. This is a fantastic game. You can pick from two different characters, one with a spinning lance. Now, typically Castlevania, the whip, Simon Belmont wields the whip, and that's traditional Castlevania, and that is great. But I really like that this mixed things up a little bit with a character that carries a spinning lance. It adds a different gameplay element. Fantastic graphics, different levels, just a great game for the Genesis, unique to the system. Similarly, Contra Hardcore. Now, I love Contra on the NES and Super Nintendo, but this is a unique outing for the Contra series. Contra Hardcore, another Genesis exclusive, and you can select from 4 different characters to play as, each with different weapons. I think that's a great feature, and it does have the mighty spread fire from the original Contra. Love me some Contra Hardcore and Castlevania Bloodlines. 2 great games, 2 great Genesis exclusives, just excellent. All right, in the comments, tell me what you love about the Sega Genesis, just about the games, about the peripherals, the accessories, the marketing, anything at all. Maybe something you grew up, that you loved about the console growing up, some memories you had with the console. What do you love about the Sega Genesis? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking it. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. In the description, I've got links to my books, to my website, to my TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff. If you can check some of that stuff out, I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in another video.